Hey, what's up? It's Matt, and we're here for another episode of MPTV. We're at the Hothead Burritos Cantina. We're going to talk to the CEO, Ray Wiley, of Hothead Burritos and Rapid Fire Pizza about a few things. Number one, he grew up in the restaurant business. His dad was one of the first employees of Pizza Hut. The guy has grown up through the restaurant industry. He's been in every role. We're going to talk to him about his experiences, about what he's seen in the franchise model that has helped certain franchises do better than others. But more importantly, we're going to talk about what it takes to succeed inside those four walls for every restaurant. Let's go. Hey, what's up? It's Matt Platt. We're back with another episode of MPTV. Today, we are meeting with our first ever CEO, Ray Wiley of Hothead Burritos and Rapid Fire Pizza.
Yep, thanks for having me today.
You're welcome. So, Ray, the concept of this podcast is MPTV, yes, Matt Platt, but also making profit.
Okay.
Profit is elusive in the restaurant business, and I think you've got a very unique story in that you've grown up in the restaurant business, you've been a franchisee, and now you're a CEO of a franchise brand. Talk about, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, your background, how you got in the business.
So my name's Ray Wiley, CEO, founder of Hothead Burritos and another brand called Rapid Fire Pizza. And we have some other partners in there that are co-founders. But anyways, so my real old background was my dad was in Pizza Hut. And then we did a regional chain called Skyline Chili as a franchisee. Then I became a Subway person for about 28 years. Got out of that in 2016. And so again, we started Hothead in 2007, got out of Subway around 2016, and started Rapid Fire in 2015. So as of today, we're running about 112 stores. That'd be about 80 Hotheads and about 34 Rapid Fires. So we have the two brands out there. We have 25 corporate stores. We have about 300 corporate employees as far as operating or working in those stores. Yep. And then we have our corporate staff, about 20 people. But that's kind of my history and what we're doing right now.
So is it fair to say that you came out of the womb in the restaurant business?
Probably.
And yeah. Still in it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was in one of the first Pizza Huts, so that was back when I was born pretty much.
What has been the biggest, obviously you've seen a lot of change in the restaurant business. What's been your biggest thing that you've seen? Is it the digital revolution to some extent we've seen recently?
I mean, there's so many different segments of it that have changed. I would say one from a financial standpoint is that if you go back 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't take credit cards. No one took credit cards really. And so that has taken about 2% of our bottom line, maybe 3% of our bottom line. And over the years, because of either consumer pressure or whatever it is, years ago, you ran about 30% cost of goods, somewhere in there. Now it's more like 32 or 34. So when you take the cost of the credit cards, you take the increased food cost, and now in the last couple of years, you have the increased labor percent. Yep. Because wages are getting higher and higher. So, back in the old day, 20% labor was normal with taxes and everything. Now it's more like 25. So you look at those two spreads right there, you're probably up 9 points, which is huge.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, it probably cut the bottom line by half or a third at least. And then what was the other factor I was thinking about a minute ago?
And all this too, prices haven't really gone up.
Well, that's weird. I worked at Domino's Domino's when I was 18 years old. And I remember their large deluxe pizza was $12.52 because we had to key in the calculator every night, right? And nowadays, you can buy a large deluxe pizza for about $12.
Yeah.
And so I don't even get that one. I don't know how that worked out, but it did. But those would be the biggest things. The other thing is that years and years ago, you had a POS system that cost nothing. It was cash register. You paid for it one time. And now we have a POS system that can, with all of the rewards programs and gift cards and all that junk, can be as much as $500 a month. So, the POS cost, the credit card processing, and the rise in food costs and labor, it really has taken an effect.
And we're talking about the pricing part. A friend of mine was complaining about airfare prices a couple months ago, and I said, dude, 20 years ago it cost me $300 to fly to California. It cost me $300 today. Now there's efficiencies nowadays, but I think food is a big thing that, I've got a friend of mine who's got a casual dining restaurant that his lunch special is like $7.99 for a burger, fries, and a drink. And I'm like, are you crazy? I mean, I think I don't know if it's a race to the bottom or maybe the consumer has dictated that, but it's wild because, like you said, all these costs are there that weren't there 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, my Subways used to run a 25% bottom line, and that's after they paid 8% royalties. So the now a Subway doing their average volume, which isn't much anymore, probably you're lucky to make 5%, maybe 10%. So it is dramatically changed. So nowadays you have to have a good concept that has to have to do significant volume or a decent amount of volume in order to be profitable. And the other thing is you got pressure from the real estate market.
Yeah.
Real estate's gotten more expensive. So there's a lot of challenges.
A lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Now, to shift to something we were talking about earlier, and I actually talked to one of your franchisees the other day, Patrick Harder, interviewing on one of the podcasts, and we talked about the importance of employees and the importance of knowing your employees. And you talked about that earlier. We maybe talk about that, the culture of it, and.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough because there's a labor shortage. I think when you have a labor shortage, you have people working for you who wouldn't necessarily be people you'd hire. And so you have a little bit of a performance problem there. And the sad thing is that it results in a lower customer service. So that's not something we really enjoy. It's just hard to get around. But I just always tell people, you got to be in your stores. You got to know your people. Try to take care of your people. And I think to our crew and our employees, it's really important to them that you care. You actually genuinely care about them.
Yeah.
More so now than any time in the past. And I think even nowadays, I was talking to one of our team members, and we were talking about when she used to work at Starbucks, and I said, "Why'd you work at Starbucks?" Just out of curiosity, why'd you choose Starbucks? And he said, "Well, because it was more like being in a family as opposed to just a job." So whether it was that Starbucks or Starbucks in general, but it was just the fact that she felt like she enjoyed going to that business every day to work. So if you can create that, then I think you're a leg up. And I think along those lines is if you're friendly to your people and you're supportive and you're happy and things like that, then that's what they do. They do what you do. They mirror you.
And this isn't even, like you mentioned, it's a tough job market, and it's gonna keep getting tougher and tougher. What are some things you've seen in your career with regards to, outside of just what you just talked about, hiring people or finding the right people?
Yeah, it's tough. We do everything we can nowadays. I mean, we're doing all the hiring websites and running ads and so forth and so on. And I mean, there's just no perfect answer.
There's no secret weapon there?
There's no secret weapon. I mean, part of me, I keep kidding around thinking, boy, the economy just needs to cool off just a little bit. Just to loosen up the job market. And I tell you, if you really get into the whole employment thing and the side effects of it, I think the biggest problem in having low employment is that you have a substandard work product, because no one really cares about their job anymore.
Yeah.
They can go out and get another job tomorrow, and every employer is fighting that. And so what happens is as people come to work, they don't do a great job. So therefore, Americans get a substandard product. And when you get into manufacturing and so forth, I think that eventually will become a real problem. Or we'll just simply eliminate human beings in manufacturing.
So going back to your days as a franchisee, what were some of the keys to your success back then? Because you've worked in a couple different concepts, and then of course you launched your own. What were some things you prided yourself that you guys did that made a difference?
I mean, my big thing when I went into Subway was going in and buying up existing stores that operators weren't operating very well. So that's really how I grew really fast in Subway. And I built a number of stores too. But that's what I did. I acquired stores and I went in and I paid the people better and ran them better and staffed them better and just took care of the health better.
What were they doing wrong? What was one common trend? Was it absentee owners? Was it people that bought something that thought it could just run on its own?
I think it was mainly absentee owners. Either they were an absentee owner or they were what we call ostrich management. Was you just go hide from your stores, you buy them and you hide from them, which is very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But sometimes when people buy a restaurant and they get in a situation where they're overwhelmed and they don't know how to deal with it and it is challenging, what they'll sometimes tend to do is they just tend to ostrich management, kind of hide from it, not go there as often, and then the employees learn you're not coming here, which means to them you don't care,
Yep.
which means that's how they start to conduct themselves with the customer. It just snowballs. But yeah, I don't know my whole point and all that was, but basically the unemployment is an issue. And I will say this, I'm not so sure unemployment's gonna, I don't think this thing's gonna rebound as quite like we think it is after coronavirus. I think we're gonna have an unemployment issue.
Yeah,
I mean,
long term,
like,
like
maybe,
never before.
I don't know what percent it's gonna be, but I think it'd be 3.5, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be more like 6 or 7. But who am I?
So when you went in and took over these restaurants, the Ostrich Owners, what are some of the key things you did that you said paid more, treated people better, were present every day?
And instantly marketed. A lot of owners don't market. They don't market enough. I mean, I'm one that marks a lot. And that's probably, the biggest thing I found was people just not advertising their store. It was amazing. I could go in and buy a Subway, clean it up a little bit, make sure the manager is decent. Maybe it kept the same crew, or just treated them differently. Do the marketing and double sales in 6 months.
It's amazing what happens when you tell people you're there.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like I say, advertising is the opposite of keeping it secret.
Okay, break time. Restauranters, it's Matt. And if you're watching MPTV, you're obviously interested in improving your business. What if I told you could finally take the hope and pray out of your marketing plan and spend money and see results? You see, most marketing starts with the same exact tactic. You gain the attention of somebody, but that's where the majority of it stops. What we do with the ROI engine is help you gain amazing attention, which drives gigantic engagement. That engagement leads to customers to tell us who they are, meaning they opt into your email, text, and birthday program, and then we drive them to buy something. We've got a lot of great programs that can help you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. If you're interested, it's easy. Check out ROIexperts.net. You can schedule an appointment, and we'll hop on a call with you. Worst case scenario, you learn how to market your restaurant like you've never heard of before. Back to the action. What's been some things from an advertising standpoint that you've had success with, or you've seen that have proven that have had longevity, or is it just in general telling people you're out here?
Well, number one, just tell people you're there, but how you do it's obviously important. Your program has worked really well for us. We've seen that work well. I also believe in, direct mail has always been a good means, but I think you need to do a number of things, like do your program, throw a little direct mail in there, maybe some billboards, things like that, and social media. But you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You're a fool.
Yeah. Let's put on the CEO hat now.
Okay.
So now you're in a different role. You're not in the stores every day. You're watching people run their stores. And it is funny because the one thing I liked about it was like today when you walked in here, I had asked them to turn the music off, and it's kind of ironic. You and Peter both noticed the same thing. And that tells me somebody that's in tune with what it needs to happen at their brand level.
It's in one way, it's so stinking simple. Just walk into your restaurant. When you walk up to it, is it look okay outside? I mean, is there a cup of spilled, whatever, been sitting there for a week? Are the doors clean? Are the sneeze guards clean? I mean, you don't have to be brilliant to do this. I mean, I even have challenges with some of my staff. When I walk up to a store, I'm like, how long has this sign been on the door like this? I walked up to one of my stores today, and, the coronavirus and stuff, we're putting signs on the doors. So let me ask you a question. If you're going to put a paper sign on a door, would you put it on the outside or would you put it on the inside?
Oh, on the inside, so the weather wouldn't get it.
Thank you very much. Apparently, one of my people didn't understand that or think through it. And I'm thinking, seriously? So anyways, those are things that, and I'm going to call an absentee owner or a substandard owner would walk up and go, oh yeah, it got wet, and walk right past it. Instead of saying, the sign looks terrible, take it down, and go tell the employees, or put one up yourself, put a new sign up, and take care of it. But they just walk past it and say, oh yeah, we need to take care of that. Oh yeah, we need to take care of that. Oh yeah, half the lights in the dining room are out. Those are the kind of things. It's like the lights out, go fix it.
Yeah.
Now, right now. And that's what a lot of people just don't do.
I did an experiment. I'm a partner in a gym, and for a while it was just me and one guy, and I was never there because he runs the gym. I was the finance side. And I would walk into the gym and I would see, to me, obviously glaring things like, how's that not here? So I made an experiment one day. I was up there in an office of the gym, and I had a box that had a delivery that came in. Took my stuff out. I intentionally put the box in front of the front door. laying there. The dumpster's 20 feet away. Just put it there. And next day, box is still there.
Oh my God.
Took a picture of it. Next day, box is still there. So we have a private Facebook group for our coaches. There's 8 coaches. And I said, hey, quick question. How many of you noticed the box sitting by the front door the past 3 days?
How many noticed?
And a bunch of, oh yeah, I saw that. And I'm like, did it ever cross your mind to throw it away? Huh, no. And even my partner, and he made a comment, and it's funny because he always has the comeback. He's like, I knew it was your box because I saw you get it the day, and I was mad that you didn't throw it in the dumpster.
So I left it there for you.
That's right, I left it. But I'm like, regardless, I'll give you kind of a pass because you are kind of spiteful. But everybody else, just because you're a trainer here, you're not an owner. Take pride in what you've got.
Everything.
I mean, you walk in, pick up garbage, and I've seen that at big levels. I was at a major company one time 15 years ago, Fortune, big time company, and I saw the CEO come up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. And he walks over and grabs a Butterfinger wrapper out of a bush and takes it in the garbage, and it showed me that he was paying attention.
I mean, I just see so many things, even in our stores, that just, I'm like, how do you not know that? How do you not see that? I mean, because when you walk in, you're supposed to look around. You know, hey, okay, everything looks good over there. Yeah. All right, we're good. But, I'm just like, how long has this spill been on this drink counter?
Yeah.
It's really, in one way, it's disheartening. But another way, it's just a challenge that you just really got to work hard to find good people that are conscious like that. And keep pushing it, and you just have to push that agenda.
So what do you say when you have people coming to you for potential franchises? And I know you mentioned that in today's environment, an owner-operator is somebody that's in the store. Mm-hmm. But I'm guessing there's probably a lot of people come to you that are looking for an investment opportunity, something that they can put in place and not be there. Mm-hmm. What works today? How do you have that conversation? Because I've seen the difference. I deal with hundreds of restaurants, and I've seen the people, I can literally look at their stuff online and go, you're an accountant or an attorney, and you don't go to the restaurant much? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? And I'm like,
I can tell.
It's glaringly obvious online the difference between that and a rapid fire like Zach and Becky have down in Eastgate, that you can tell they're in the store every day.
Some people want to come in and do that career thing, and I just always explain to them, look, you can do this, but you have to understand, you have to be able to be in the store. So if you want to keep your day job or you want to keep your profession, so that's fine. But if someone comes to me and says, hey, I got this career I'm in, and I'm locked into it 8 to 5, and I can't go help the store if they need it, I'm like, well, you don't need to buy a franchise then, because it's not going to work. I can tell you how this is going to end. You're going to lose a lot of money, and it's going to be a bad situation. But if you have some people like someone who's a realtor or a sales rep, someone that can move around throughout the day, and because the thing is that, okay, so if your manager gets hit by a bus, who's opening the restaurant? Yeah. No one. I actually had a franchisee like that, and people are like, well, we're short-staffed today, we're not opening. I'm like, what? Go open your restaurant, or we had 2 call-offs, so we only had 2 people working, so we didn't open. Really? So, we see it all. But I would just basically, to answer your question, if an accountant or someone like that wants to get involved, unless they have an operating partner that's going to have skin in the game, I wouldn't do it. Unless you get somebody a partner, or you're going to do it yourself. I mean, you got to kind of jump off the cliff, and you're either committed to the project or not, or unless you have a bunch of money and you want to throw it at it, okay, do that too.
So your franchises, Hothead, Rapid Fire, you've been in other franchises, you've seen a lot of things. What have you taken from your past experiences to create? Because I've seen both, I've been in both, I love both, eat them every week. What have you taken from other things and put into yours to really create what you think is a better franchise? A better concept and a lot out there.
Well, I think to have a good concept, you have to have a good product. And the only way to have a good product is to have operations that are so simple that when an employee really doesn't care about your job or their job, your restaurant, or your product, it actually comes out as a good product.
Okay.
So
execution's easy.
Yeah, the execution has to be easy in order for your product to end up on the table as a good product. For instance, we could have a whatever you want, a burrito, a pizza, whatever, and someone could say, yeah, well, my buddy's a chef and he can make one better. I bet he could. But we're not all chefs. Our team isn't chefs. So, I think we have excelled in having an exceptional product in both of our brands that is consistent. Yeah. I believe so. It's funny, I had a rapid fire pizza the other day, and I'm just like, God, this stuff's good. I love the thin crust. Yeah. It's just amazing. It's a great product. And Yeah, so is Hothead. Hothead's a great product, and but if it isn't a product that can make it through a day where the employee really doesn't care what the quality is, it has to taste good after that goes through that test. What do you call it? That litmus test?
Yeah.
But that's a good concept that can operate in that environment.
Okay.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
So in closing, you got a restaurant operator or owner who's watching this. One piece of advice you'd give them that if you do this every day and you consistently do it, in 5 years you'll look back and go, man, thank goodness. What one big piece of advice for owning and operating a restaurant?
It's not one, it's be in your restaurant and do your marketing. And you'll be successful. That's all there is to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a man after my heart. We're wrapping up MPTV. Gotta love it when somebody says market. I'm Matt Plapp. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Adios.